Let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at ancient scripture today, specifically the Quran, but absolutely not through your typical historical or theological lens. Instead, we're unpacking a really revolutionary mathematical and topological framework, known as the Dual Caustic Universe, or DCU for short. Basically, this framework treats the text as pure mathematical topology, like a living, recursive, geometric organism.
The core premise here is just wild. We aren't looking at static poetry or narrative. The whole idea is that the text is computationally active. It behaves exactly like a living tree. It unfolds from a single seed, grows, produces fruit, and then returns to a seed. And it's all driven by this incredibly precise recursive geometry.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to shift our paradigm from reading the software to reading the firmware, right? On the surface layer, you've got your narrative, metaphors, stories, theology, essentially the user interface. But the DCU focuses strictly on the substrate layer underneath all of that. We're talking operational mathematics, field mechanics, algebraic firmware. It's a fundamental shift from surface theology to reading the core code itself.
Which brings us to the formal definition of the DCU. This framework neutrally treats the text as a mathematical blueprint. And here is the kicker. The lens of observation and the structure of the universe are treated as one and the same. The text isn't just describing a universe out there somewhere. In this reading, the text is the native computational substrate of reality, operating through a dual-field system of expansion and compression.
Okay, so let's look at our roadmap to see how this actually builds. It's a continuous geometric unwrapping. We start from a single point of compressed potential, the seed. That expands into a complete circumference, the circle. Then, that circle unwraps into a path we can actually walk, called traversal. This journey eventually folds back into a stabilized closure state, the fruit, which then carries the seed to restart the whole recursion. So the deep correspondence isn't just a simple circle to a line to a triangle. It's seed to circle to traversal to fruit and right back to seed.
We begin with the number 114. On the surface, sure, that represents the 114 surahs or chapters of the text, but mathematically this represents the completed whole. It's the unbroken circle, the total, finished enclosure of guidance. Every single surah occupies a specific position on the circumference. Before any unfolding even happens, the entire tree exists in this perfectly compressed continuous ring.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. When that circle opens, what was previously a simultaneous whole turns into a sequential path. Think about it. A circle exists everywhere all at once, but unwrap it into a line and suddenly it becomes readable in time. Revelation enters sequence. The reader is now actively walking a path that was previously enclosed as a total field. You experience step by step what was once simultaneous.
And this unwrapping isn't just random. It is driven by a central operator, which the framework calls the tree itself. Mathematically, this is a living process of triple expansion, noted as 3t³. It operates on three axes at once, conceptually from knowledge to wisdom to action, biologically from root to branch to fruit, and temporally from descent to traversal to return. Through this operator, the text becomes completely readable without ever losing its fundamental unity.
As we traverse this sequential path, we hit the vertical dimension, 286, which you might recognize as the number of verses in the longest chapter. Now, in the DCU topology, this height perfectly corresponds to the second dual coordinate, known mathematically as 2i9. Basically, this height acts as the continuity field. It's the memory depth of the traversal, ensuring the system doesn't lose its origin while it's expanding out.
It's honestly awe-inspiring how the text aligns with this math. Just consider this verse fragment. He knows what is before them and what is behind them. As you, the reader, move forward, unwrapping that circle into a line, the complete structure remains perfectly intact behind you. Forward and backward are both perfectly preserved inside the exact same field. The traversal moves, but the coherence of the whole geometry never breaks.
Eventually, the unfolded strips of this path stack up into a triangle. Mathematically, this correlates to the number 7, which represents the fruit of this journey. Every traversal seeks closure, right? Every branch seeks fruit. 7 is that non-trivial fixed point where the full traversal finally folds back into a single, invariant state.
Geometrically, something absolutely beautiful happens here. The area of this newly formed triangle is exactly equal to the area of the original circle. Area equals pi r squared. It's a flawless demonstration of preservation through transformation. Literally nothing has been discarded or lost. It's just rearranged into a new state of closure, holding the memory of the entire traversal.
So this tells us that the fruit isn't just an ending, it's compressed completion. It holds the path, the memory of that path, the stabilized closure of the whole cycle, and, crucially, the seed of the next unfolding. The recursion doesn't just terminate and die. You arrive at closure only to discover that the closure already holds the exact code to begin again.
Moving into our next section, the Master Blueprint, specifically looking at Surah 24, verse 35, known as the Verse of Light.
This right here is the ultimate proof of concept for this model. It's an architectural blueprint hidden right inside the verse. We can map the exact symbols perfectly to the geometric functions we just went over. The niche is the container holding the recursion. The lamp is the detectable field. The blessed tree is that traversal operator we talked about. The oil is the hidden field of latent continuity. And light upon light, that's the stabilized closure, the fruit.
And the most remarkable feature of this topology is embedded right in this phrase, whose oil would almost glow even if untouched by fire. Think about the mechanics of that. The latent oil is fully charged and luminous before it's ever ignited by an external spark. It proves that the unfolding is just revealing what was present from the very beginning. Continuity already exists before any physical activation.
As you can see, the book unfolds through the act of reading in the exact same geometric progression as the circle unfolding into the triangle. To walk through the text is literally to walk the topology. You go from the container of the book, through that triple expansion of the tree, drawing on the latent continuity of the oil, to finally reach that stabilized, luminous state of light upon light.
As we close out this cycle, remember the golden rule of this framework. Nothing is ever lost. We have one source, two caustic fields negotiating, one tree mediating, and one guaranteed return. The whole text becomes compressed into closure without losing a single verse. The circle becomes readable, the tree becomes traversable, the fruit becomes luminous, and the seed begins again. A perfect, unbroken loop.
But here's the thing. You, the reader, are the living node required to traverse this mathematical tree. You aren't outside this geometry. You're the variable inside it needed to complete the circuit. So I'll leave you with one final provocative question from the framework to chew on. When will you activate 1912? Reflect on that topology, and until next time, keep exploring the hidden structure of things.